One day I was playing squash with my friend and I was really out of breath. And then like all of a sudden I had this song stuck in my head and I knew the song really well. It was like deja vu, but I couldn't make out the tune or the lyrics. My stomach dropped and then I'd be confused for a couple minutes. This happened like once every week to 10 days.
I'm like, well, why don't you go see somebody there? You're in medical school. No. I think I'm going crazy. I think I'm becoming schizophrenic.
Then my mom like made me see a neurologist. My parents were in the waiting room and I had like tears streaming down my face and I like opened the door.
Take this picture to my grave. He's just standing in the doorway framed and tears rolling down his cheeks, and he said, I have a brain tumor. And literally it's like somebody punches you in the gut.
It is as difficult to deliver that message today as it was 12 years ago when I first started. In my last year of training, my godson, my nephew, at age 7, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And when you get news like that, you say, well, I can fix this. I can solve this problem, and I couldn't. And that motivated and inspired me to make a difference because I went through it professionally and I went through it personally. Keep falling. Hey, that's better. I'm giving a patient the best opportunity at survival as exists, which is why the Brain Tumor Institute is so important to me. To be where you are with a scan like this at a year is phenomenal.
You've meant so much to me, you really have.
It's very sweet. Well, you've meant a lot to me too. My objective whenever I go into somebody's brain is to get in and get out and they not even know I was there.
I was in the OR. The next thing I know, I woke up and I was being pushed down the hallway. And I remember being shocked that I could speak perfectly. And he goes, yeah, I think we got it all.
So then, you have to wait 5 or 6 days for the pathology. Okay, so we can deal with this. It's gone now, right? It's all going to be gone. It won't be the worst. It won't be a GBM. It'll be something else.
And Dr. Chandler came in. Looks like you have a stage 4 glioblastoma. And then I put my head and my hand together. I'm like, oh, this is bad. It was just like, oh. Like it took the air out of my life.
I'm not a big believer in statistics. They tell me how globally people do.
When, doctors sometimes give like prognoses, like you have 6 months to live or something. He said on the first days, like, we're not thinking about death right now. It's not imminent.
So these are PJ scans. I mean, getting a brain tumor is the most feared tumor probably of all. I think we're making some strides, but the glioblastomas are certainly the one where we have to make the most headway. We know that these tumor cells are very complicated, and probably a one-target approach is not going to be very effective. And since there's a lot of targets, if you start hitting more than one, you're likely to get a better benefit. Patients teach doctors a lot. Some patients won't give up, even when you think maybe there's nothing that's going to work, and then you start something and it works. And this is PJ's last scan. There's no evidence of tumor, it's clean. And my patients, I like to be sort of like Jerry's kids. I like to collect Jerry's kids. I like to have poster children that have gone on for years and years and years. PJ said, well, I want to try to help fix this thing. So he decides to go work in one of our labs.
I used to want to be a surgeon, actually, but now I'm thinking I want to be a neuro-oncologist. So.
One of the issues with brain cancer is penetrating the brain. This particular new technology that we've just begun to study allows placement of chemotherapy within these particles that will disperse, diffuse through the brain tumor and make sure that every one of those tumor cells has that agent.
So if we think about the genes that are likely important in a brain cancer disease, it's a network of organized crime as the mafia. We essentially don't want to tackle the gangster on the street. We want to tackle the potential bosses in the mafia.
Since they figured out the human genome, it's like you can really individualize cancer treatment.
We know PJ's tumor very, very well. We have the capability of looking at each single gene in that tumor and hopefully identify that single therapeutic that potentially might be efficient for this individual patient.
We have 2.5, 3 labs at this point. When we have a half a dozen, I think we'll be in an even better place. because each lab is going to have a different focus. Each focus then potentially becomes an area of doing, from my standpoint, a therapeutic clinical trial potentially. So we have 2 trials that you're probably eligible for. I think we are very different because we do tons of clinical trials. We bring them in, we write them. It's like a war. And if I can just keep winning as many battles as I can win, then the war continues on.
When I was in medical school, it was a death sentence to be diagnosed with AIDS. And then in the 90s, we figure out a cocktail that can keep the disease at bay. And I don't know where we are on that curve for this particular disease, but my hope is we're right on the cusp of where we were in the 90s with AIDS.
When I heard Senator Kennedy had passed away, it was obviously tough because he and I have the same type of brain tumor. But I am grateful for all of the publicity that he brought about brain tumors and glioblastoma in particular.
We rely very heavily on those who have been touched in some way. They become passionate and they support. Much of the great work in brain tumor care and research occurs on the basis of philanthropy.
A big part of it is just being positive about it, because things are around the corner.
Just knowing there's people that are doing well out there, I think that gives people hope.
And that's what I'm living on, hope. Hopefully somebody will come, with a cure for this, and keep your fingers crossed, because I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen.
He's doing well. He's really, he's going to beat it.
Hair is going back.
Having been surprised diagnosed with a brain tumor at 28, and I just celebrated my 30th birthday a couple weeks ago, and I'm doing great. My prognosis is great, so, I plan to be one of those. I plan to mess up those statistics.